Did Selene kill Rumi's mother? K-pop Demon Hunters took the world by storm with its dazzling visuals, vibrant characters, and music so infectious that fans are still humming, dancing, and singing to them months after its release. It's literally so good that Netflix released a sing-along version in theaters, and Netflix doesn't really do that. But beneath those bright stage lights and high-energy performances lies a story about identity, carrying scars of generational trauma, and confronting the heavy burden of secrets. No character embodies these more than Selene, Rumi's adoptive mother and former demon hunter. On the surface, she's a strict but protective mentor figure, guiding the next generation of demon hunters. Yet she's also the center of many fan theories, with fans believing her past is far darker than the movie admits. Today, we're delving into the past to uncover what might have happened between Selene and Rumi's mother and father. The official explanation seems simple. Rumi's mother, Ryu Mi-young, was both a demon hunter and a fellow bandmate of Selene's in the Sunlight Sisters. Shortly after giving birth, Mi-young died, and in the wake of this tragedy, Selene stepped in, adopting Rumi and raising her in the ways of demon hunters. It's a neat and straightforward story, but when you pay closer attention to the film's small details and cryptic lines, it begins to unravel a bit. The movie never explicitly shows what happened to Rumi's mother, leaving much of her fate to a few cryptic lines from Selene. What we do know is that she's already gone by the time the story begins. Many fans assume she died during childbirth, but Selene remarks about vowing to protect what remained of her bandmate, and her surprise at discovering that what remained was a child, particularly one that's half demon, suggesting a different picture. It implies that Rumi may have been hidden away or not publicized, and that her mother's death came suddenly sometime after her birth. Here's where the fan theories come into play. One of the prevailing theories for K-pop Demon Hunters is that Selene may have been responsible for Rumi's mother's death, even if by accident, and that by doing so, Selene adopted Rumi out of guilt instead of a more compassionate act. So why does this sound like a possibility to people? Well, it all boils down to the way Selene is presented. Firstly, let's look at how Selene raises Rumi. From the get-go, she implants the idea that creating the golden honmoon will fix her demon marks, as if Rumi herself is broken. Her worldview is absolute. Demons are irredeemable, and anything touched by them must be hidden or destroyed. When Rumi hits her lowest point, instead of embracing her for who she is, Selene doubles down. She proposes fabricating a cover story instead of letting Rumi's friends see the truth. This is less the behavior of a nurturing parent than of someone trying to control a narrative they're ashamed of. This doesn't make Selene evil, though. What it does show is how deeply stuck she is in her ways, shaped by the unwavering lessons by generations of demon hunters. What it personally reminds me of is how many traditional Asian parents raise their kids, expressing love through control, protection, and discipline rather than openness or flexibility, and that you must hide anything that is shameful until you fix it. Trust me, as someone who grew up in a fairly traditional Asian household, I know how that feels. What this reminds me of, and is a good parallel of, is the most recent season of King of the Hill. The Laotian family, the Sufanusophones, quietly go through a divorce off-screen, but choose to hide it out of shame. Khan, the father, even explains to Hank that divorce isn't usually viewed positively in his culture, so he and his wife Min conceal the truth from their community. This pattern of hiding and controlling isn't new for them either. When Connie, their daughter, was younger, her parents pushed her to excel academically, often pressuring her into music, grades, and strict routines as a way of showing love. For Connie, affection was tied to achievement, and any failure was treated as a source of embarrassment. And again, I know this is a crazy pull considering we're talking about K-pop Demon Hunters, but it's pretty fresh in my mind since I just watched it like 3 weeks ago. The dynamic also reminds me of Pixar's Turning Red, which makes more sense, honestly. In that film, Mei grapples with her mother's overbearing expectations while discovering her own identity through supernatural transformation. Ming, like Selene, isn't a malicious figure, she just tries to control her daughter's life out of fear and tradition. Both stories show mothers who equate secrecy and perfection with survival, and daughters who must break away from those patterns to embrace their full selves. With this additional context, Selene also becomes the secondary antagonist of K-pop Demon Hunters, as she represents Rumi's opposite when it comes to her internal conflict. I've seen fans call her the ideological antagonist, which is a good way to put it, honestly. Yeah, the demons and Gima are still the primary antagonists, but if you take a look at it, Rumi has been fighting on 2 battlefields this entire time. By the end, when Rumi embraces her identity and creates the iridescent honmoon built on acceptance, she doesn't just defeat demons, she breaks free and alters how the demon hunters view demons going forward. Lastly, I kind of want to bring in some of my Star Wars nerdiness here. Selene kind of reminds me of the Jedi in this way. The Jedi always demanded the suppression of emotion and attachment in the name of safety and order, clinging to the rules that once made sense but eventually stifled their own growth. They even became so freaking stubborn, and honestly, it's because of their hubris that they fell, but that's their fault. In a similar manner, the demon hunters have clung to this tradition, with Selene being the torchbearer of that, even when it no longer really serves them. I mean, after like a century of demon hunting, you'd think that, oh, maybe they aren't what we think they are. Selene's refusal to adapt is really from fear, guilt, and a lifetime of believing that hiding what is wrong is the only way to endure. Us fans and viewers on the outside, we can see that they need to change because not only is it necessary, but it's good. But, coming from Selene's POV, I understand why she hesitated to be the one to take that first step. I mean, for me, it definitely wasn't easy for me to tell my parents, no, I'm not becoming a nurse or a doctor or a finance bro. I didn't want to be the one to disappoint, but eventually I had the courage to do that. With all that being said, let's paint a picture of what might have happened. Imagine Mi-young out on one of her demon hunting duties, crossing paths with a very different kind of demon, one capable of love and empathy, and genuine connection. Against all odds, the two begin meeting in secret, their bond deepening until they fall in love and conceive a child. The fact that Mi-young was able to carry the child to term suggests their love was true, mirroring the kind of bond Rumi would later form with Jinnu. But tragedy strikes. During one of these secret meetings, or perhaps maybe during Rumi's birth, Selene discovers them. Maybe it was Mi-young's cries of pain that draw her, or perhaps something else entirely. But believing Mi-young to be under attack, and guided by her rigid belief that all demons are inherently evil, Selene attacks, striking at Rumi's father. Mi-young throws herself in the way to protect the man she loves and is fatally wounded. In her final moments, she confides in Selene that she's given birth to a child. Racked with guilt over what she's done, Selene takes in the baby, Rumi, despite the child embodying everything she was taught to despise. What makes Selene fascinating is that she embodies both the best and worst of the demon hunters. She shows loyalty, responsibility, and strength, yet she also carries these secrets. She's inflexible, and she's fearful of what could be. If she truly did play a role in Mi-young's death, then raising Rumi is both her punishment and her redemption, because, she managed to take in something she didn't really accept. She may never fully accept her daughter, but her choice to care for her at all hints at the possibility of a slow but painful internal growth. So, what did you think? Was Selene responsible for Mi-young's death, or is there more to it than we've uncovered? What other theories have you heard surrounding K-pop demon hunters? Let us know in the comments below. Hopefully we'll get an answer in the future now that there are officially K-pop Demon Hunters sequels on the horizon, but we'll just have to wait and see. If you like this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more K-pop Demon Hunters videos. Thanks for watching, and remember, Frederator loves you.